Now, as a videographer, one of the things that I really enjoy shooting are setups like these, talking head videos, interviews, anything, it's kind of a sit down scenario where the client is sitting and speaking to the camera or speaking to the interviewer, that kind of stuff. I love shooting those kind of stuff. It means that I can kind of control the shooting environment. I can control the lighting. I can control the sound. There's so much more control over the whole setup and the scenario of the shoot. There's more time to pay attention to all the settings on your camera, as opposed to, say, a wedding. Because I've done a couple of weddings in the past, and whoa, weddings are stressful, guys. I don't think I'm going to be doing another wedding anytime soon. Because, with weddings, as you know, you only have one chance to get it right. One chance to get it right, especially in the ceremony aspect of things. The reception, basically it's the same thing, But the fact that there are no do-overs, so to speak, with weddings, make weddings very stressful for me, at least for me, to shoot. So I don't like shooting weddings, But I love this kind of setup. I love doing concerts. I love doing seminars, award ceremonies, corporate events, those kind of stuff. Because I think I have much more control over what I'm doing, so to speak. I don't have to be stressed out running here and there, trying to sort out stuff. Now, my son and I, one of my sons, we just finished doing a photo shoot in the house here. Photo and video for some B-roll kind of stuff. So I thought, I would just sit and make this video. And what I like to talk about today is sound. I'm not an expert on sound, but I'm speaking on sound today from the perspective of shooting something like this. Sorry. The client is dressed formally, is wearing formal attire. As you can see, I'm wearing a jacket and that kind of stuff. Formal attire. We all watch a lot of YouTube videos. We all watch the influencers online. We watch the vloggers online. We watch the tech reviewers online. And the trend over the last couple of years is for most of the reviewers to be wearing these wireless lapel mic. I have one right now on my jacket. This wireless clip-on, or should I say, well, this is attached using a magnet on the inside part of my jacket here. Which is all well and good. If you're doing a product review, if you're a vlogger, if you are some kind of influencer, or that kind of stuff, and you're out and about, it's a kind of a run and gun kind of situation. I think these microphones are appropriate for those scenarios, right? Because those kind of settings, in my opinion, those scenarios are a little bit less formal, right? So whenever I see someone in a video wearing one of these, I'm okay with that. But me personally, if I'm shooting something like this, where the client is wearing a formal attire, I'd rather have the client wear something like this, a lapel microphone. In my opinion, these seem to fit the attire so much better, right? I know it's just me. That's just me. I mean, you don't have to agree with me, but for me, if I'm shooting a formal, interview or something like that, where the person is dressed, in similarly to what I'm wearing right now. I think it's more appropriate to wear something like this. I'm just going to pull it off so you can see it. Something like this. This, a lapel microphone, as opposed to a one of these magnetized wireless systems. Right now, this is also a wireless system, except that the battery pack, the transmitter pack is hidden down here, right? And the receiver is up there on the camera, all right? But to me, these are a little bit more discreet. They just seem to fit the attire much better. Now, if I was wearing, say, something like a hoodie or not necessarily a hoodie, but I was less formally dressed, so to speak, very casual. These, something like this, I think it's good, Yeah, so that's just my take. It's just the way I feel. You may disagree with me, but that's just how I go about it when I'm, if I'm shooting an interview. Another thing I like to touch on as it relates to shooting these scenarios is the fact that I think it's a very good idea to shoot dual audio. I know that in a situation like this, shooting a talking head or, that something similar to this, there's a possibility of having a do-over. That's what I'm saying. So, God forbid that something should go wrong. There's the opportunity that, in many cases you could talk to the client again and you have another shoot. All right? But when it comes to sound, and this is just how my brain works, I always like to run dual audio. And so right now I'm running these microphones on my shirt or on my suit, but just over my head here, I'm not sure if this is showing up in the shot, I have a shotgun mic which is out of the frame, and it is pointing down towards my mouth right now, right? And so this is recording to an audio recorder which is sitting on the floor here beside me, and this is kind of typical how I would capture audio if I'm recording something like this for a client. It's never too much to run dual audio. There's always, in my opinion, the necessity, or I think what I'm trying to say is a good idea to have some kind of redundancy, So God forbid that, the wireless system should have dropouts, something should fail. It should pick up some RF interference and the whole thing should get muffled. At least I have a backup here, which is a wired connection. And, all things being equal, it should be recording good audio. And so if this one should fail, then I would have, a backup recording to use. Yeah, so I just thought I would make this little video today. What's your take as it relates to wearing these microphones, these wireless clip-on microphones? I'm talking about. Okay, so this one is from Hollyland. This is the Hollyland Lark M2. This is the charging case that it comes in, and this has a dual mic system. I'm just using one of the microphone right now. The other one is in the case, right? So this one is from Hollyland. I really love the sound signature of Hollyland microphones. And then you have other products like DJI, which is a big player. You know, you have can't even remember all of them now. But of course there's another little one called Moana. And how could I forget about Rode, which is also a big player in the wireless arena right now. I have one of the older system here, which is a lapel wireless system. That's the Rode Link. Still works fine, but it's just a bit bulky. So these are all over social media, right? And they're good for what they are. You know, they're good for what they do, to capture audio on the go. They're easy to set up, they're easy to connect, and they're just hassle-free, right? As opposed to the lapel clip-on here, where you kind of have to make sure it's sitting properly on your clothing. There is not ruffling. There's no ruffling against your clothing, and and the battery pack and the battery transmission pack is so much bigger. With these, they're tiny, very tiny. Everything is included. The battery is inside. The microphone is inside, and the transmitter is inside. So they're much more discreet and much more smaller, and they're so much more convenient to use. But for me, like I said, if I'm shooting something very formal, I would rather the client be wearing a lapel kind of thing like this. All right. So what's your take? What do you think? Is it important to you? Does it matter to you in terms of what kind of microphone the client is wearing? Say for example, you're not booming the you don't have a shotgun mic on a boom, and you have the option of wearing. You have the option of the client wearing a lapel microphone as opposed to a wireless magnetized one here. What would be your preference? That's the question. Let me know in the comments, because this could be up for debate. This could be a topic that is up for debate. But I just thought I would kind of run it by you today and get your feedback on how you kind of feel about this topic. All right. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And until the next video, you take good care of yourself now. All right. Bye bye.